It's 9 o'clock in Les Abdelong, and it's the 13th of March, and everything's sort of pretty much more of the same today. We've got everyone on the one page of the tracker, and Kirsten's sitting in her hole. Abelish is just getting the breeze, and our new troops are making a lot of noise in the background there. So just excuse me for a second. I've got to shut the door. So, the door's shut. Okay. We've got a new team member started today, Georgie, and so there's a bit of banter going on in the background. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll get onto that. So the only thing really to report at the moment is that, or two things. Abelish managed to get a really big message out via an Indian ship back to his family, so Umi's happy about that. And we got the message that Ian Herbert Jones had something going wrong with his hydrovane. There was some little grub screws getting loose and things weren't working right, but he was able to get some message, a very long message back to his team manager, and they got onto hydrovane and got some instructions on what to do, and then that's all been passed back through Peter at Passage Guardian. So I think that's pretty much the first time we've had some technical assistance given under an HF radio back to one of the GGR entrants on board. I mean, there might have been some smaller ones, but it was a classic case. So it looks like it was nothing to be too concerned about. He's been given clear instructions on what to tighten up and bits and pieces. It's nuts and bolts, but it was good to see. So certainly Passage Guardian was handy on that one. And that's all allowed under the rules. You know, you can do anything you want for technical assistance via your HF radio. That's the whole point. You cannot use a satellite phone, of course, but with the radio, it's all legal. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, back to the tracker, and we'll start zooming in here on Ian and look at what's going on. And it's all looking very favourable at the moment for both Ian and Jeremy. And in fact, I don't even want to talk about it. So favourable. Touch wood, touch wood. So first of all, they've all rolled over their 8 o'clock position. So the latest is Ian's doing 4.1 knots, which isn't as fast as I would have thought. Gives me the impression his mainsail still might not be up yet. He should be hightailing it. You're making the most of the good sailing conditions on the way to the Horn. It's after the beam, and it's probably only about 15 to 18 knots, gusting 28 knots or something, and quite good sailing, but he's only doing 4 knots, so the window's open. That's the only way to put it. Jeremy, on the other hand, is going for it. 6 knots. He did 126 nautical miles in the last 24 hours, and it looks like he's going to have a good little run. He's not far to go. In fact, the distances now from the Jeremy to Cape Horn is about 190 miles, near enough. So that's a bit over a day and a bit. So sometime late tomorrow, our time, he might be going around. And for Ian, it's about 1,000 miles. So normally you'd say that'd be 7 days, but unless he can get his main sorted, I'm not sure what it's going to take. But let's say it's 8 or 9 days. It's still, the window still may be there. So what I'm going to do now is make it a little bit smaller for everyone. I'll get rid of this for the moment, just so you can see the weather that's coming and developing as it goes forward, just to see if there's any storms or anything coming. Here we go. So this is around midnight tonight, and there's nothing happening for Jeremy. He's just got the same north-westerly breeze, which is absolutely perfect. Ian's getting a bit more of a punch, but it's just a good solid Southern Ocean breeze from the southwest, and it's swinging around to the south-southwest a little bit by the look of it. And Jeremy's okay. This is going through to the 15th now, pushed through pretty quick. So by then he will have been around. He certainly would have been around about then, so there's nothing there to worry him. And that blow that was coming through, it sped up and changed and disappeared completely. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to build it up now so we get a better look. So at that point, Jeremy will be up here or come in behind that with favourable winds. So it looks like he's going to get a reasonably good ride. Clicking it through, I need to hit that again to make it move. So this is on the 15th at 9 o'clock. So this is 48 hours ahead. So by then, Jeremy will be, around Cape Horn, sitting there looking good. Ian's looking okay. Keep pushing it through. And then he's got a bit of a northerly breeze. So that's okay. It'll just push him out, in this direction, which is not a problem. It's going to change, and Ian's still looking okay. So got some confusion then coming for Jeremy. It'll back off pretty quickly, but again, southwesterly winds. So Jeremy's got a reasonable expectation of making progress for the next couple of days. We're up into the 17th already, 4 days later, pushing it through. And Ian, look at the weather Ian's got. It's absolutely perfect. So that's all looking good. Nothing happening. That's a good breeze coming through. That's the 18th. So it's 5 days ahead by then. Ian will be down here somewhere, probably just behind it. So that looks all right. But I think by the time he gets to the Horn, depending on when he gets there, that's the 20th. There's 7 days. And remember, he's 1,000 miles out. He should be somewhere getting close by then if he can fix his mainsail. And then there might be something coming. Nothing really dramatic. That's the 22nd. No, there's just nothing. So he's got to keep a move on, and this would be outrageous. He might get around without any big blow, which is fantastic. So keep your fingers crossed for Ian. All right. So we'll go back to the normal weather, and we won't talk too much about poor old Goog. He won't be a happy chappy at the moment. He's really lucked out on this one. There's some winners and losers in this. The big winner, of course, is Simon. Avalish is getting a mixed bag, but Kirsten and Goog not looking good at all. He's, what do we got here? Come on. Here we go, 4.6 knots, but he's only done 41 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. So not happy about that at all, and it's not going to get much better in a hurry. Simon, on the other hand, has been flying 6.7 knots, done 150 nautical miles in a day, and that's as we expected. So he's just been hammering in up towards Avalish. Avalish is just now starting to get the impact of this breeze coming through. He's right on the edge of it, still only doing 4 knots. It's been pretty light. He's only done 80 miles in a day, so he's lost out nearly 80 miles to Simon overnight, and they're very close now. So that's the deal there. And poor old Kirsten, she's done 26 nautical miles in a day. Oh, whoop, whoop. She'd be happy. And doing 2.8 knots as we projected, and that's likely to continue. So what I'm going to do now is just look at the close-in weather, because we've already discussed yesterday that this is the dominant factor, this high-pressure system here, and it's struggling to try and take over the lead on everything to do with the South Atlantic high. And in fact, if we come back to it, you'll see it's not dominant. It's not over the whole thing, but it's still the strongest, because this is this high here. This is why it's, Kirsten's going to get caught in the breeze. You can see there's more wind activity going on here than there is up the top. The trades have completely lost it, because there's this is like a breakwater. If you imagine this as being water, right? This water up here has gone calm and nothing happening, because there's a rock wall here that's stopping the influence of this stronger system below it. And that's the problem for Kirsten, especially. She's stuck on the breakwater. And anyway, I'll come back now and you can watch what happens. Yeah, so we'll now toggle this through, and we can watch all 3 of them at the same time. So you can see the green band is just now coming over the top of Avalish, and he'll get moving. He should be able to pace himself up against Simon, but we'll just see how it goes. That's going to hold as a southeasterly for some time. And the Goog sitting down the back there, no good at all, not moving. And it looks as if at this stage that Goog's going to get a little bit there, so that's okay. And you'd think that this green band is going to go up and envelop and cover over the top of Kirsten, and that's what you'd hope. But watch what happens here. Basically, it's coming up. And in fact, I haven't seen this, so let's hope it does go over. But from yesterday, it was slowing down and stopping right about where she is there now. So you can see in the meantime, it's all come up here, but then this ridge is just squashing, and it stops right there. So I'm about to progress it, and let's see what happens. So this is on the 14th at midnight. So this is a day and a half away. So Kirsten's been sitting for a day and a half, and for a day, Avalish has been rocking on. So by this time, when this forecast is here, Avalish has made another 120 miles on Kirsten, and Simon's made probably another 130, 140 miles on Kirsten, and may have even he will have caught up a little bit on Avalish, because it was still 6 hours or so before Avalish gets it. So that's all interesting. And if we keep clicking through, you see what happens. The green band, this one here, just stops. It just stops dead. And even if it does go forward, you can see now as it's coming through, this light wind is going to be light headwinds for Kirsten. So you could always hope she'd get up here, but remember that the strength of these trades is still not strong all the way up, and that's quite a long way. That's 100 or so miles, so she's not going to go very far. If we go there's 190 miles. It's still going to be very light, and I can't, for the life of me, seeing it happening. I think she's really trapped here now. Anyway, so that's 2 days. In 48 hours from now, Kirsten's still sitting, and I'll show you where Abelish will probably be 2 days from now. He's got probably 200 miles, so he's going to be right up here. He's going to be right there, and so in 2 days' time, on the rum line, he's going to be about 200 miles behind Kirsten. That's all. And Simon's going to be equivalents of that. He's going to be another 100 or so behind that. So, and they're still boring down on Kirsten. So how long does it take to move? It's getting a bit hard when you get 2 days out. This could all change, but let's just follow the forecast for now, just to see if it's holding the same as it was yesterday, suggesting it was going to be nearly 3 days that she's trapped in this hole. And yeah, from there, she's going to get a northeasterly. So it's going to be hard. She's going to head over on starboard tack, and that's 3 days from now before Kirsten starts to move. So and that's going to put these guys even closer. So still not looking good for Kirsten. Poor old Goog back here, he's either got no wind. If he tacks in on port tack, he's going to drive into the center of this because it hasn't really moved. It's just got distorted, right? And if he doesn't do that, if he goes over here, he's got headwinds. So he's not a happy chappy either. Anyway, that's it, and we'll see what happens. So we're going to follow Bernard Matessio across to Cape Town until he saves his soul, and then we'll leave him there. We also had a question. Someone asked, what's this ghost boat here? That's Arnaud, and I'm about to do the question and answers sometime today. And when I do that, I'll do an update of all of the entrants that have currently retired. So if you want to find out what the entrants have been doing, I will give you that update, the ones that have retired or rather, what they're doing and where they are in the world and so on. I'll give you a brief on that, but he's a previous entry in the race. Jean-Luc gave me a message, hey, what are you doing to Matmut? Matmut's been sitting there and hasn't moved since the, what have we got here? The 11th of March. Oh, he's moved a bit. Okay. Over the weekend, he was still a week behind. So I've got to tell Yellowbrick to keep up with Jean-Luc. And Sue Haley is still back here, but she should have, she's on her way down now. This was the story. It's a great story in his book when he went too far north, and he had headwinds, and he said, oh, bugger that, I got to dive south. So he's finally dived south, and that's on the 11th of March as well. So so Robin's on his way down, remembering, of course, that, these positions were adjusted for a September the 4th start for both Bernard Matessio and also for Robin Johnson and also for Jean-Luc, just to show you the comparison of the fleet, to show you what's going on. So all interesting stuff, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to come back here and press the right buttons. Here we go. I've got to press that one. See you later.